guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be the probably only video I'm going to make on my channel about the global situation that's going on. I just feel like a lot of people are talking about it, and I know a lot of people kind of want a break from it, so there just really wasn't a reason for me to talk about it. But one thing that kind of came into my head the other day is that a lot of people, obviously, that already have mental health issues have been struggling more than normal with this. I mean, everybody's struggling with this. But the last couple of videos that I made about my OCD, I got so much great support on, and it was just really, really wonderful, and I really, really appreciated it. So I thought that it would be maybe a good idea to come on and just kind of talk about how my OCD specifically is with everything that's going on. So that will be today's video. In this video, I'm not going to go too in depth about, what OCD is or my personal experience with OCD, because I've already made full videos on that topic. I'm going to have them linked above and below, so if there's anything you want to check out, they're there for you. But this is basically just going to be me kind of just rambling, kind of video diary style, about what's going on, how I'm feeling, specifically with how it relates to my OCD and mental health in general. So first, I'm going to basically explain what's going on with me with my circumstances, just so you kind of have the framework for it. If you don't care about that, I'll put the timestamp of when I stop explaining what's going on with my life and just go straight to specifically the OCD. But to start off, my province is in a state of emergency. I live in New Brunswick, Canada. We haven't had that many cases compared to some of the other provinces. We're actually doing okay, knock on wood. That's an OCD habit right there, by the way. I knock on wood all the time. But I am not working right now. My workplace isn't closed down, but I work in a call center, and it's a breeding ground for bacteria. Call centers are terrible for germs. You're all in a very close space. It's hard to keep it sanitized properly. It's always been, if one person gets sick, everybody else is sick within a week. So it's a place that is not quite safe to be, and because I already have some breathing issues, sometimes my lungs just seize up and I can't breathe. That's just my normal. So if I did get the virus, it would be significantly worse. And I also have a weaker immune system. So I made the decision not to go back to work. I took a voluntary layoff. I'm able to get the EI because the layoff is because of the virus. So I'm doing okay financially. Obviously, it's less than it would be if I was working, but I don't have to be worried about being homeless. I know that I can feed myself and my cats and pay my bills, and I just, can't buy anything else for the next while, but I am fortunate in that respect. As far as the rest of my family goes, my brother lives in Calgary, and he isn't working right now. He worked at a store and they had to close down. Calgary, if you don't know, is pretty much the city in Canada that has it the worst. So I've been feeling a lot of anxiety with that. Like, we are just so close, and I worry about him a lot. And he's only lived in Calgary for about a year and a half now, and I used to hang out with him all the time. We spent every single Friday together for the last couple years, and other times too, obviously, but Friday was our routine. So to go from seeing him all the time to him being on the other side, like literally the other side of the country, and Canada's a big country, has just been hard anyways, and then with this, it's been extra tough. So that's been scaring me a little bit. Both of my parents are still working. My mom works for a bank, so they're still open, and my dad sells engine parts, and he specifically usually sells to, like, big trucks and stuff. I don't know much about cars and engine parts and stuff, but the vast majority of his customers are like delivery trucks. He's had to do a couple emergency ambulances and get them like emergency parts for repairs because the ambulance was off the road. Like, it's things that his customers are essential, so he's like secondhand essential. That's been stressful, and also just knowing that my parents are going out every single day because they have to, and I know that they're being as safe as they possibly can, but it's obviously something that worries me a lot. The other thing is I live completely alone, except for my pets. It's just me, 3 cats, and a rabbit. So I'm 100% isolated. And yeah, I like being on my own. I'm very much an introvert. I don't like being around people. So I would prefer it this way than being stuck with somebody, like if I had a roommate or something like that. So this is preferable to me. But, you know, isolation is hard no matter what. Humans are naturally somewhat social creatures. So even though I prefer to be alone, it doesn't mean that I want to be 100% alone all the time. So basically, things could be a lot worse, and things could be better, obviously. But all in all, I am doing relatively okay. I'm going to real quickly just touch on my other mental health related things. So if you're just here because you only want to hear about the OCD, again, I'll put a timestamp so you can skip right to this time. Sorry, Comet, I hit her little head. But I just figured, let's get the whole picture for anybody that wants the whole picture. So my depression hasn't been that bad. I had a couple very, very low days, but overall, I've been okay. Anxiety is kind of tied with my OCD, so I'm going to kind of talk about that when I talk about the OCD in a second, but I've been an anxious mess. There's that. Aside from my anxiety and OCD, though, the biggest thing that's taken a hit has been my eating disorder. So I have not relapsed. I've just been getting a lot of unhealthy thoughts. There was a couple days that I just lost track of time, like I have been, and I forgot to eat for most of the day. And then when I remembered, it was hard to convince myself to eat because my brain is saying, oh, well, if you went this long without eating, just don't eat. See how long you can go without eating, which is bad, it is dangerous, and I should not do that because eating, as much as I hate it, is healthy and it's something that we have to do. Also, my eating problems are usually amplified with financial stress because that is an excuse that my brain uses to not eat. I use money as a reason not to buy food. I say, oh, well, you know, you can't work right now. Times are really tough. To save money, stop spending money on food. Stop eating. And that has been hard to ignore, but I haven't relapsed yet. You know, I feel like this whole pandemic has taken a lot of things away from me. It's taken a lot of things away from a lot of people, and I don't want it to also take away my recovery success so far. Now, specifically about my OCD. So, obviously, I've said it before, OCD is an anxiety-based disorder. Anxiety is something a lot of people are feeling right now, a lot more than normal. It's a scary time, so a lot of anxiety disorders are very much heightened right now. So I have made some steps backwards with my OCD. First of all, just to get the easy thing out of the way, my medication. So I have to take 4 pills every day. I have one of them and then 3 of another one. And because I'm not working, I have no structure to my day, and I lose track of time, and also I have some memory problems, but I think that it's just a naturally occurring thing that everyone's kind of memories are a little bit messed up right now because of severe anxiety, and some people are feeling more traumatized by this, and also the lack of structure and just everything being so uncertain. So I am also having some problems with my memory and keeping track of time. So like the second week, I ended up counting my meds afterwards, and I'd only taken them like 3 out of the 7 days because I just completely forgot them. And then I was trying to take them, but it got to the point that I couldn't remember for sure that I took them, which is very much an OCD thing. Like not being able to 100% remember that you did something, so you have to repeat it. Like locking doors and turning off ovens, that kind of thing is usually what it is, but for me, it ended up being my medication, which is very dangerous because you can't take extra medication. That is bad, that is dangerous. So I've been dealing with that much better now. I have a friend that's texting me every day. It's the same friend that was taking me to my therapy appointment, so he is very used to how my mental health works, and he's a good friend. He's always there for me. But he texts me every day at 5 o'clock to make sure that I took my meds, and I text him back once I've taken them. Not when I'm going to take them, once they are in my mouth and swallowed. So that way, if I forget whether or not I took them, I have it written down right there. I can see I hit send on that text, so I must have taken them. And also it means that I don't forget them. And if I don't text him back, he'll text me again and remind me. Because I was trying to just set an alarm, but the thing was, if I was in the middle of doing something when my alarm went off, I wouldn't remember to go and do it afterwards. And also, with the problem of not being positive that I took them, I would accidentally take extra. So that was definitely something that was a struggle, but I pretty much have it under control now. It is still something in the back of my head that is kind of stuck on repeat, but I know that it's okay, and I'm able to ignore that thought because I know that that thought is my OCD talking, and I can ignore it. It's not important. So that is good. Another thing that I have been kind of struggling with, specifically with my anxiety and OCD, is a lot of my anxiety, and therefore it also stemmed off into a lot of my OCD rituals, is about people coming into my house. And I don't know why, but I have nightmares at least a couple times a week of just somebody being in my house. And a lot of times it's not even like a burglar or someone that's trying to hurt me. It's just a person just standing in my house and not leaving, or somebody comes to the door and asks to come in and then they just won't go away again. Like, it's not usually something malicious. It's just having somebody in my nice, safe area. It just really bothers me. So I think that because it's so enforced right now that, you know, people are dangerous, keep your distance, all of that, that is heightening that fear so much. And because I am trapped in my house, the worst thing that can happen is somebody coming into my house, which obviously worse things can happen, but that's what my brain is saying. So I have had a lot of struggles with that. Whenever I hear noises, it is very difficult for me not to do what I call my house check. I don't remember if I mentioned this in my OCD rituals video or not. I don't remember when I started or stopped doing it. But basically, if the thought pops in my head that somebody is in my house, I have to check the entire house in a very specific pattern, like walk through and touch certain walls and open certain doors a certain way and double check everything. And it actually got to the point that, this isn't funny, but I'm laughing anyways. It's kind of funny. Anyways, the cats, because they knew that I took such a specific route, would actually be ahead of me and go into the room and wait for me, which is sad because that means I'm doing it too much. But it also means my cats are really smart. So, I don't know, read into that what you will. But yeah, and if I made a mistake, I'd have to start over. But if I had to start over more than twice, I would leave my house in the middle of the night and just wander around town, which I can't do right now. That is dangerous. So it has been very hard not to start doing that again, and it's something that is very loudly repeating itself in my head, and I can very strongly feel the compulsion, and it has been very, very difficult not to do it. But what I'm trying to remember is that if I do it once, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for me to stop again. So as long as I don't do it the first time, which is really obvious, like as long as you don't do something the first time, you're not going to do it, but just having it in my head that way has really helped, because a lot of things, especially with mental health, are about mindset and just being very aware of your thoughts and little mind tricks that you can do to make things more bearable. So that one is probably the one that I have been the most nervous about slipping up on. And obviously it's, you know, I live in a very safe neighborhood, but that doesn't mean that you can just wander around town in the middle of the night by yourself. So yeah, I am trying to deal with that one, but so far so good, knocking on wood. Also, like I mentioned, my knocking on wood has gotten worse. That one I have been less successful at stopping. It goes back to how I think that the universe is not out to get me, because that sounds ridiculous, which, I mean, OCD does sound ridiculous most of the time, but I think my OCD thinks that the universe, with a capital U, gets mad at me sometimes, and that sometimes when I do or say certain things, I am like testing it or making it angry. So if I say, I'm trying not to knock. So if I say, like, I'm glad that I'm not sick right now, the universe will take that as a challenge, and it will be mad at me for being so arrogant, and I will get sick. So that's been something that is also very loud in my head. And when I say loud in my head, I don't mean audibly loud. I just mean very mentally all-consuming. Very distracting almost isn't a strong enough word. It's hard to explain it. If you understand, then you understand, and I'm not quite sure how to explain it if you don't already understand. Ripley, why are you scratching the ceiling? Why are you doing that? Come down. Psst. My cat is on the top of my bookcases, and there's a spider web on the ceiling that she wants to play with. Thank you for lightening the mood though, Ripley. I do appreciate that. Another obsession or compulsion that has been rearing its ugly head more than before is the one surrounding my bunny rabbit. So I have a rabbit. His name is Balto. I love him very much. He is a cranky old man and I love him. But I worry about the health of my animals a lot. It is another one of my really big OCD triggers, and I am confident enough in the cat's health that I can keep that under control. But because the vets are pretty much closed down, like if you have an emergency you can still call them and they'll go in and meet you there and everything, but I can't just swing by the vet. And sometimes it just pops in my head that my rabbit's not okay, and especially if he's laying down. And if you have a rabbit, then you may know that a lot of rabbits, when they lay down, they just kind of violently flop over onto their sides, and it's very cute. But it sounds scary because they just all of a sudden stretch out and they just lay very still. So I have to go right up to his cage to make sure that he's breathing, and a lot of times I startle him. And I feel so bad because he's resting and relaxing and comfortable and calm, and then I scare him. So I feel really bad about that. But that's one that I'm not doing that great at controlling. And I actually didn't notice that I was doing it until just a couple days ago. So I think that is progress, because being aware of your OCD and your OCD thoughts is the first step to knowing that those aren't your thoughts, and to therefore not have to do the compulsion and get rid of the obsession, etc. I want to touch on something else, because I've seen so many people say this and it bothers me. So a lot of people, when they're talking about it and trying to get things off their chest, and people that are struggling, a lot of them have prefaced it with, I know a lot of people have it worse, and I know I have no right to complain and blah blah blah. And I just want to tell you guys, stop. By definition, only one person on the planet can have it the worst, right? That's what the definition of worst is. It doesn't make sense that only one person can ever complain, right? It doesn't matter that somebody else out there is struggling more than you. If you are struggling and you are feeling bad and you are having a hard time and you need to vent, vent. Maybe if it makes you feel better, don't specifically complain to the person who you think is doing worse than you. Like, don't complain to a homeless person that your rent has gone up, kind of thing. And that's just being mindful of who you're talking to. But overall, if you need to vent, don't be afraid to vent. If you are struggling, don't beat yourself up because other people are struggling worse. If this is just a tiny inconvenience to you, but you still are feeling it, you are feeling it. That is valid, the end. So I just wanted to say that little rant, kind of off topic. What else is new with me? This video was very rambly, but it's partly just so that I can look back and remember everything that happened, but also if there's anyone else that has been struggling with OCD or any other, anxiety or anything at all really, I think that it's sometimes just nice to hear someone else just talk about it. I know that that helps me. Yeah, this video really wasn't that structured. I know my last couple OCD videos were a lot more structured. I even took point form notes for some of them. This one I just sat down and decided, yeah, let's just chat. So if there's anything that I rambled on too much, or if there's any questions or anything you guys want to talk about, then definitely comment down below. Or you can also DM me on Twitter if it's something more personal that you want to talk about, or a personal question that you're not sure if you should ask. That's okay. But yeah, I think that is all for today's video. So if you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know. And of course, subscribe to stay up to date for the rest of my videos. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday. They're usually reading or writing related, but sometimes I just post random other videos like this one. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye.